So, what if I told you there's just one simple rule that separates the wealthy from, well, pretty much everyone else? It's the core lesson from Robert Kiyosaki's legendary book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and honestly has the power to completely flip how you think about money.
You know the advice we all get drilled into us, right? Go to a good school, land a safe job, climb the ladder, buy a house. But what if that path, that so-called American dream, is actually a financial trap? That's the big provocative question we're going to dig into.
All right, so to really get why that path can be so risky, we first have to look at the very foundation most people build their financial lives on. And as Kiyosaki points out, it's often as stable as a house of cards. Kiyosaki uses this brilliant analogy. He says, if you want to build a skyscraper, like the Empire State Building, you have to dig a really deep hole and pour a massive foundation first, right? But what do most of us do in our financial lives? We try to build that same skyscraper on a flimsy 6-inch slab of concrete. And the result isn't a financial empire, it's what he calls a leaning tower of suburbia, always just one bad month away from toppling over.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, easy fix. I just need more money. But here's where it gets interesting. Because that thinking leads to a fascinating and often tragic paradox. It shows that just having money is absolutely not the answer.
Let me tell you a quick cautionary tale. Picture this. It's 1923, and a group of the wealthiest, most powerful businessmen in America get together in Chicago. We're talking heads of the biggest companies, the titans of their day. You'd think they had it all figured out. But fast forward 25 years, and a shocking number of them ended up broke, in prison, or had even taken their own lives.
So what went wrong? What's the lesson here? It's that they had the money, but they didn't have the financial intelligence. See, intelligence is what creates money. Money without that core intelligence, it's just money soon gone. It proves it's not about how much you make. It's all about how much you can keep. So what is this financial intelligence then? Well, Kiyosaki's rich dad taught him it all comes down to one brilliantly simple rule, a golden distinction that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And here it is. This is the bedrock of the entire philosophy. Rule number 1. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but this is the exact point where almost everyone gets tripped up. And forget all the complicated, jargon-filled definitions you might have heard in some accounting class. Rich Dad's definition is pure genius. An asset is simply anything that puts money in your pocket. End of story. And a liability? Yep, you guessed it. The exact opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. This right here is the great divide. The rich focus on acquiring assets. The poor in the middle class, they spend their lives acquiring liabilities that they think are assets. This simple difference is like an engine that creates two completely different financial realities. And the best way to see how it works is to just follow the money, to look at the story its cash flow tells. Okay, first up, let's look at the cash flow of a poor person. It's a pretty straightforward and frankly brutal cycle. Money comes in from a job and it immediately flows right back out to cover basic expenses like taxes, rent, food. There's nothing left to build with. Now, here's the pattern that Kiyosaki calls the most dangerous one of all, the middle class. The income comes in from their job, but then it's immediately used to buy liabilities, a mortgage, a car payment, credit card debt. And those liabilities then create even more monthly expenses, trapping them in what he famously called the rat race. And finally, we have the cash flow of the rich. Notice the huge difference? Their income isn't coming from a job. No, it's flowing from their asset column, from things like rental properties, stock dividends, you name it. That income pays all their expenses, and whatever is left over gets plowed right back into buying more assets. It's a beautiful, self-perpetuating cycle of growth. Okay, so let's put this rule to the ultimate test. Let's apply it to the biggest purchase most people will ever make, a purchase that often becomes the biggest trap of all. And this brings us to what is easily Rich Dad's most controversial idea. Is your home, the thing that everyone from your parents to your banker calls your greatest asset, actually your biggest liability? Well, let's just apply our simple rule. Does the house you live in put money in your pocket, or does it take money out? Think about it. Every single month, you've got mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, all of it taking money out of your pocket. And maybe even worse, all the money you have locked up in your house is money you can't use to go buy real income-producing assets. So, if wealth isn't about the size of our paycheck, and it's not about the value of our house, then what are we even aiming for? What's the real measure? What's the actual goal here? Kiyosaki uses this powerful definition from the inventor Buckminster Fuller. Wealth isn't about your net worth on a spreadsheet. Wealth is simply this. If you stopped working today, how many days forward could you survive? That's it. It's not a measure of dollars, it's a measure of time. And that leads us to the true finish line, financial independence. That's the moment when the cash flowing from your asset column is more than enough to cover all of your monthly expenses. At that point, you're no longer dependent on a job. Your money is officially working for you instead of the other way around.
Which brings us right back to that one powerful rule that really sums us all up. The rich buy assets. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. So the only question left to ask yourself is when you look at how you spend your money, which column are you building?